Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. Don Miguel Ruiz. Good morning, and welcome to Collecting Bugs, the podcast, coming at you with a self-help episode? Is this real? Before I get into that though, I just filmed the episode that you watched last week and I forgot to mention this. On Spotify, if you listen on Spotify, I always post a poll and a question. So like if you want to interact and tell me what you think about the episode or answer my poll, that would be really helpful. And also on whatever platform you're on, you can probably either give me a like or give me a rating of 5 stars. So that would really help me out. And I really appreciate everything that you guys do to support the podcast. So about the whole self-help thing. Also saying this to address some comments that I've gotten recently. I am not against doing things to improve self-destructive behavior. I'm against doing things to fix what isn't broken and spending your precious resources to solve a problem that didn't exist before someone tried to sell you something. However, there are plenty of things that are within our control, things that are free and take no time whatsoever. They just require a mindset shift. I will never, ever endorse victimizing yourself. No matter what is wrong with the world, how horrible capitalism is, or whatever you think, we are not relinquishing the power to feel better. Two things can be true at once. Just because something isn't your fault doesn't mean it's not your responsibility to deal with it. I would love to discuss this concept of not taking anything personally because it has changed my life. It's mended my relationships and just made me an overall more compassionate and empathetic person towards others and myself. But first, of course, this week's bug of the week is the tick. I live in the Northeast, along with the entire tick population. I do have beef with the tick, so this is my attempt at extending an olive branch. I got Lyme disease about 3 years ago, and it was horrible. Then the medication I was on to fix it was horrible, and the doctor that I saw to treat it was horrible. Overall, pretty traumatizing. Like, it's honestly hard for me to relax outside during this time of year being in the Northeast, and the ticks just waiting in my yard to crawl on me and bite me and burrow into my body, into my loved ones' bodies. There's not many good things to say about the tick, I will not lie. They don't really serve the collective, in my opinion. However, I do think they're cute, and I recently found out that they're actually arachnids because they have 8 legs. So like tiny little vampire spiders. I'm gonna be a tick for Halloween. When I cured my Lyme disease, my friends wanted to throw me a tick party, and I'm still waiting on it. To get into today's topic, I'd like to introduce you to this radical ideology that everything is a mirror. Every person you meet is a reflection of yourself. The entire world is a reflection of your inner world. Think about it. You have only lived your life. Well, as far as we know, you've only lived your life. You only have your experience, your personality, your values, and that is the only way that you can process the external world, through the lens of your own perception. Everything that happens gets filtered through your past experiences, your knowledge, your biases, your parents' knowledge and biases, their parents. We all have very unique and subjective perspectives because they are a combination of our experiences and the experiences of past generations. Our perception is coded into our DNA, in our thoughts, physical sensations, disabilities or lack thereof, privileges or lack thereof, race, gender, location, body type. There are so many things to take into account. 10 people could be in the same room experiencing the exact same event, but have radically different internal experiences. And this is how you see the world. Even though you're looking at a different person, speaking to them and hearing their story, you are subconsciously judging them for things you can't relate to and recognizing things you can relate to, putting yourself in their shoes in order to relate to them, because that is the closest way we could ever possibly relate to a whole separate human being. You see yourself in everything and everyone. Everything is a mirror. Now, if you're still with me and we're considering that everything is a mirror, then we could say that we are always constantly projecting our experiences onto everything else in order to understand and relate to the world around us. This could be good, but it could also be destructive. For example, the traits that we notice in others are usually traits that we also share. So the traits that we dislike in others are most likely things that we dislike about ourselves. They're unwanted traits that we're subconsciously trying to separate ourselves from. So we judge others for the same thing, to perceive ourselves as better than them. Here's a disclaimer before I move on, because I know this is immediately where you're gonna go. You can and should, of course, confide in and get advice from people who you trust. We want to connect with people. We also want to stay open and willing to listen to constructive criticism. We don't know everything, we're not perfect, and we can benefit greatly from listening to others. However, this is so important to realize, because if everyone is constantly projecting, then there's no reason to take anyone's opinion seriously, and that includes your own. If someone has a negative opinion of you, likely they see an insecurity they have within you and it's being reflected back to them. So of course they don't like you. You're showing them what they don't like about themselves. Who likes that? That's rude. And if they don't have that self-awareness, they will just subconsciously decide you have whatever negative trait they say you have in order to feel better than you. And you do it too. We all do. It's so human. It's our ego protecting us. So no matter how personal a situation may seem, it's really between them and themselves. It has very little to do with you. We are all in our own worlds, battling our own minds. It's you versus you, always. That's why you can't take your own thoughts seriously either. I have OCD. If I took my thoughts seriously, I would be institutionalized. But even if you don't have OCD or you're completely neurotypical, we all have negative self-talk. We're all insane. Imagine if I put a microphone up to your brain. Yeah, we are all constantly using very limited information to jump to conclusions about everything. Our subjective experiences are just not reliable, and our subjective experiences are all we have to form opinions. Yes, we can learn things that can change our opinions, but it will all be processed through the same lens. You don't need to put your trust in what other people think or what you think. I trust how I feel. I trust my gut and my intuition, but definitely not what I think. That's mind chatter. Chittavritti. It's just noise. Another layer of taking things personally is making the assumption that it's about you. It's just not. It's not about you. Our ego wants it to be about us so badly, but it's just fucking not. That's self-importance. There's just so much other shit going on. Not taking things personally is freedom. You are so free from the opinions of others and from your monkey brain mind chatter. So how can we put this into practice? Practicing compassion and empathy instead. If we're considering taking things personally as self-importance, you could say it's a little selfish. If someone has something negative to say about me or reacts to me in a certain way, is inflammatory or whatever the case is, instead of immediately getting defensive, I try very hard to practice empathy instead, and not in like a, oh wow, that's so sad, but just I'm going to not necessarily feed back into whatever's going on here, because obviously there's something deeper happening that I don't know about. There's something happening in their own brain. There's something that they're battling, especially if it's like not something that I did to deserve it. You know, those people who just like start yelling and you're like, why? Practicing compassion, not being a doormat, but just keep an open mind. Getting to know yourself. If you know yourself, no one can tell you shit. You can't take what someone says personally if they're wrong. Like, okay, you're wrong. If someone like makes fun of me by calling me a giraffe, like, oh, you're so tall. I'm 5'3". You're stupid. That doesn't hurt my feelings. If it's something that you just cannot relate to whatsoever, you're not going to take it personally. You're not going to get offended. They are obviously misguided. So just know yourself so hard. Get mindful, journal, do whatever you have to do. Go to therapy to get to know the true you. Healing your inner child. I think this is especially important because when we're children, we need the acceptance of others to survive. We need our parents to like us. We need nurture. We need people to care for us in order to live, right? So especially if you've had a childhood where you were neglected, you might have this really strong sense of I need everyone to like me, or just this fear of being left, being alone. So I think healing your inner child can release that need to be accepted, and you will become less reactive. You will naturally stop taking things so personally because it just won't matter as much. And to do that, of course, you could go to therapy. There's meditations for healing your inner child, journal prompts, you know. Sometimes I like to imagine myself as a little kid when I'm sitting in meditation and I approach her and I just let her vent to me and I hug her and I'm like her mom. Releasing control and working on not being as controlling. When you're taking things personally, you are controlling the narrative. If I make this assumption about how this other person is feeling or that this situation is about me, I now have control over the situation because I know what's going on. But you're not responsible for other people's opinions or behaviors. It's not on you. Release that control, release that responsibility. It's just not your problem. Assume no one has a problem with you. Assume everyone likes you unless they say something, because that's their responsibility. Now, because this is a little bit of a short episode, I wanted to end it with a fun little game. I watched a bunch of self-help videos and compiled all the advice I got, because let's be real, they all say the same shit, and I'm gonna put them on a tier list. We're keeping it simple, just tier A, B, C, D, and F. We're skipping E, just like school. The first one is meditation. Definitely going in A. I love meditating. I feel like I talk about it a lot. It's advice that I give. Just don't knock it till you try it. I don't think it's necessary. I think for me it's necessary. You don't need it. But it's something to, you know, if you struggle with anxiety or or whatever it is, like, I think everyone can benefit from meditation, but you don't need it. You won't die. Morning or night routines. I'm gonna go with B. I think I have a general morning and night routine. I think to be too strict about it, unless you're trying to kick a really bad habit, or like, I don't know, if it's serving some sort of extra purpose, I guess it could be more important to you. But just a general, like, okay, I'm gonna do these things just to keep yourself on track. I think it definitely could be beneficial. I benefit from having routines. Journaling has gotta be C. I'm only not putting it in D because I know it helps a lot of people. I don't really journal, honestly. The most I'll journal is like if I'm pulling tarot and I want to write down like what it means to me and like a download that I'm getting or something like pops into my head and I really want to write it down. The act of physically writing hurts my hand, so I don't know. I haven't noticed that it makes much of a difference, to be honest, but if it works for you, that's great. Making your bed first thing in the morning. D. I know it's like scientifically proven to help with productivity or whatever the fuck. It's just one of those things that it so doesn't matter at all. You're gonna get right back into the bed. It doesn't matter if it's like this perceived productivity. I'm gonna do this thing so I feel productive even though I didn't actually do anything. I don't care if it takes 2 seconds. It's just, I don't know. I think it's a waste of time. I do it just because I live with somebody and it's nice to have things look clean. I kind of get freaked out when things are, you know, not in order, nice. And I guess it does help. You know, it's not an F. It's like not the worst thing. It doesn't hurt. I just don't think it does anything. Rebranding yourself. Fucking F. So dumb. I've fallen for this trap so many times. I've said it before. I feel like rebranding yourself is just running from yourself. Like, you just don't like yourself. And it's fine if you don't like yourself. Maybe there's things about you that aren't great. Maybe you're self-destructive. Maybe you, I don't know, neglect your mental health or whatever it is. I guess you can rebrand yourself in like a healthy way. Like, oh, I'm somebody who goes to therapy, and okay, fine. But the idea of like branding, I don't know. Maybe this is something I need to think about more. I had this conversation with my partner about how you're always constantly branding yourself and like, your brand is like, because I was like, I don't have a brand. He's like, yeah, you do. Like, everything that you do is your brand. So let me know what you think about that. I'm still like, I don't really know how I feel about it. Treating yourself. I'm gonna give this an A. I think that's so fun. I love treating myself, giving myself little gifts. It's kind of like we're celebrating. And you're not celebrating anything in specific, just like being alive, being a cute girl. You can just give yourself a little treat. I think that's fun. Body positivity. I'm gonna go with D. I'm much more of a body neutrality girl, a body acceptance girl. Same thing with self-love. Like, I think it's hard to get to self-love when you don't like yourself. I think self-acceptance is so much easier. And the thing with body positivity, especially when the type of body that you should have, quote unquote, changes every like 10 years. It's like, as long as you're healthy, like health positivity, that's fun. I don't think your body really matters at all. Like, genuinely, as long as you feel comfortable and you're healthy, it's like, whatever. You don't need to love your body. It's like, it's just a meat vessel. I don't know. That's how I feel. Exercise. I mean, fuck yeah, obviously A. You need to exercise. It's, you know, good for your health. Move in silence. Oh my God, I used to be such a move in silence ass bitch. I don't know. C. It, like, who cares? If you're someone who's an open book, I think that's cool. I understand it's like, oh, you don't want the wrong information to fall into the wrong hands. Like, there are people who can use what you're doing against you, and I guess it could apply to certain things. I don't think we're that, like, important, though. Like, I don't think it matters. Waking up early, that's also going in C, I think. It's like, it depends on the person. I like waking up early, but there are people who are night owls and they are more productive and think clearer when they stay up late. That's cool. Cold showers, D. I don't like them. I'm not convinced. Something I did not too long ago, I was having a panic attack and I dunked my head in ice water. It was so nice. Like, it can definitely regulate your vagus nerve or whatever. Like, holding an ice pack up to your vagus nerve, up to your chest when you're feeling anxious does help a lot. And I understand it can, like, wake you up, like, but you could just splash cold water in your face. I don't think you need to take a cold shower. It's just so uncomfortable. I'm like, why would I ever do that? Reading, yeah, I mean, B, just because I love reading, but you don't have, I think everyone should try reading, even if it's not like a book. It could be an article or whatever. Or listening to an audiobook. Reading is really beneficial, but it's not like make or break, I don't think. Planning every hour of your day. F. Dude, this sucks. Is there anyone who actually does this? Like 6 a.m., wake up, 6:15, brush my teeth, 6:30, have coffee. Like, oh my God. Affirmations, C, I think. I don't use them because, as I mentioned before, I have OCD, so not the best for me. But I mean, for some people, they help a lot. I don't know. Even like listening to like a guided meditation with affirmations, I'm kind of like, oh my God. It's hard when you don't believe it, you know? It's like I'm just listening to something. It's like, I don't care. Self-care or like taking a self-care day, that's pretty A tier, I'd say. That's super fun. Like pampering yourself, not in like a beauty type of way, but just in like like having a little spa day to yourself. That's so fun. I like doing that. Having like one day out of the month where you have like an everything shower, you know what I mean? Cut your hair and get your nails done. It's so fun. It's fun. Habit stacking. This is like fun. I don't know. See, that's cool. Like if you are trying to not be on your phone as much and you're trying to, I don't know, read more. Wait, that's maybe not habit stacking. If you're trying to floss more, so you like take the floss out and put it next to your toothbrush, because you do always brush your teeth. I'm gonna stack that habit onto this habit, so I know I'm gonna do it. That's cool. I guess that's cool. Maybe that should be a B. I don't know. Gratitude, definitely A. You're so miserable without being grateful. I feel like I don't know anyone who wouldn't benefit from gratitude, but not like bullshit gratitude, not like I'm grateful for the roof over my head. Like when I'm practicing gratitude, when I'm being, either doing a mindfulness gratitude meditation or whatever it is, I try to think of things that I'm actually grateful for in that moment. Not that I'm not grateful for having a roof over my head, but usually it's like, I'm so grateful for the pizza I had for lunch. It was so good. I'm so grateful for my partner. I'm so grateful for the beautiful weather outside. Like just whatever you're grateful for in the moment, I think is way more powerful. Hustling / maximizing productivity. We all know that's going in F. You're not a machine. We are not here to accomplish, to have goals. We are here to experience. And the last one is romanticizing your life. I'm kind of down with this, honestly. I'm gonna give it a B because I think it could go into the toxic realm, but like being the main character of your life, that's like fun. I don't know. Romanticizing things. The way I think of it is like taking things slow and just like sensualizing things. I think that's fun. Anyway, that's it. If you're watching, you know that my camera just turned off. That's okay. I was wrapping up anyway. Follow me at Collecting Bugs Podcast on Instagram. Rate me 5 stars. Let me know what else you want me to talk about. I'm always open to feedback. The links for everything are in the description. And thank you so much for being here with me today and every Tuesday. I will talk to you next week. Bye.